Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Meng. So this time it's a bit bigger kit because here we get the BMW bike, and as all other previous bike releases from this brand, it comes in 1/9 scale, so it's quite a large build and might be interesting for modders who would like to copy this bike because there are no other alternatives on the market. And what I have here on the table, that's the final shape of this release, and it means you will be getting exactly the same stuff if you order it from any good model shop. So as you can see, it's already the 6th kit. I removed some of the stickers, but I also wanted to say that I also reviewed the previous releases of these BMW bikes from Meng, so in case you are interested you can find them easily on the same YouTube channel which you are watching right now. Today we are getting the plastic which copies R18 Classic Cruiser. So this is the special model which was released relatively recently, and it is in this cruiser style, so it's quite large with the boxer engine, as you can see here, 1.8 liters, so it's not that small bike, and it's quite impressive thing in reality, even though it's also quite questionable in terms of the ergonomics, because as you can see, the leg rests and pedals are placed under the cylinder covers, so definitely not a best placement for the cruiser, and your legs will be warm for sure. Nevertheless, the box size is quite large. We have really beautiful box art. Here is comparison with my hand. On the side you'll find also some, let's say, of the marking options. Obviously you are not limited with this one. You can find the references online, and there is also still the configurator available on the website of the manufacturer, so you will be able to choose what you would like to copy. And here we also have the short list of the features. We have also the history note. Let's say assembled model will be 269 millimeters long and also 113 millimeters wide. And also I can see that there are steering, dampers, movable, and some other stuff included here, but I would say this is something what you would expect from such a large model kit, so that's why I'm opening the box so that we can review it ASAP. So first of all, as you can notice here, the sprues, they are packed into the separate plastic bags. I would say it's a classic packaging style for this brand, so there is nothing surprising in that, but I will be opening each one bag by bag, and you can see that, I mean, you could have noticed that the sprues were molded out of this light gray plastic. So it's something what is useful actually in the build, especially if you are trying to achieve the certain paint shade, then it's definitely a good thing to have instead of the pre-painted or pre-colored plastic. So first of all, we have here this clear orange elements, and if camera will focus, you will be able to see what I'm talking about here. So these parts obviously will be used for the headlamps and taillights, but again, you are free to choose something different in case you would like to have it painted or have it also removed. Maybe you can also strip it from the color. Here we start with the first gray plastic sprue, so here maybe I will zoom in so that you can see what we will be talking about here. Let's place the sprue like this. Maybe I'll just zoom out a bit. It's the lenses, they are heavy, so that's why they are zooming in a bit. So you can see that here we get the parts for the fuel tank, I guess, and also some parts for the main chassis. And overall the molding quality looks fine. These parts are really big, you can see it in comparison with my fingers, so definitely do not underestimate this kit, but it might be also interesting for modelers who do not have a good eyesight. We also get large guiding elements, so it will be easy to align them together. This is also definitely a good thing to have in such big kit, because otherwise you will be spending time trying to align such large elements together. And as you remember, the previous BMW bikes from the same brand, they were also good in this sense. I saw some of the assembled builds and they look quite impressive, so I guess this kit is not an exclusion from this rule. And we continue with another set of plastic sprues, so just give me a second. You can hear I'm unpacking them in the meantime. So for example, what we have here is the rear section which is installed separately. We also have the wheel fender for the front wheel, and it is actually good that it is molded as the single piece part. So if I place it like this, you can see what I'm talking about here. This part, I'm not sure where it will go, probably for the rear section. And let's again flip over these parts. So as you can see, this front fender is quite clean. We have two tiny marks, but this is not a serious problem. And I think with some due quality and due attention to the details, you should be quite fine. So there is nothing to be worried about. Next, we have the plastic sprue, which is dedicated to some of the engine parts. So this one is quite interesting because here BMW in real life, they offer some of the upgrade options. So you can replace this and this covers, basically these three parts, for something called option 719. And I wonder if aftermarket manufacturers will actually release it, because here I doubt that it will be included, or maybe it will be offered as the Meng aftermarket, who knows. And also here you can see these large ugly exhaust tubes. This is something what is also present on the real bike, so you will not be able to avoid it unless you want to modify to do a slightly tuned version of your BMW R18. Then definitely go for it. I would rather replace it with some imitation of the straight pipes. It would be a better looking result, and of course it will also simplify the assembly a bit. And also, this is the headlamp case, so I guess we should zoom in order to show it closer. So it looks really nice. I like the surface details here. It might be a good idea to pick them all up. And here you can also see this cylinder covers, and this is the frontal cover of the engine. Obviously here you place the BMW logo. And what you can play with the standard parts is actually the finish, because I think even the standard parts, they are offered in a different versions. And if I flip over the sprue, again, really big guiding elements, so you shouldn't be worried that it will be a bit difficult to align all of this stuff together. It is actually thought through, and it should be quite easy. What I'm looking right now here is the suspension parts, or the drivetrain parts. We also have parts for the front fork, and all of this looks rather impressive, especially considering the size of these parts, as you can see here. So the only thing is maybe to think twice on how you plan to paint all of this stuff, because it is something what will be important. In some areas it will be really difficult to reach it later, and that's why you should have some strategic thinking. Maybe go through the assembly manual, try to pick out the parts which are better off if you paint them in advance before the installation, and then just have everything ready before the actual process. Okay, I opened the next plastic bag, as you might have heard. So first of all, we have here the rear fender. This one is molded as a single piece part, and as you can see, it's actually good because you won't have any seams and gaps in this area. So you just need to install it onto the model and you will be good to go. We also have some installation points here. So really nice design, and I think such engineering might be actually helpful in order to get a bit more realistic looking result. So I am happy to see such things. And the same can be said about this sprue L. So here we get the large engine parts, and you can see that engine block is basically the assembly of those parts and those parts. This is a boxer engine, obviously, but still you have to assemble the central section as well. And again, really big guiding pins inside, so nothing to worry about. And this reminds of the assembly without the glue, but obviously it will not be assembled without the glue. In some areas you will even have to use the screws, which will be on the bottom of the box. And next we continue with the sprue M. So just give me a moment. So the sprue M is a bit smaller, but here we get the various pipings, and as you can see, they are also nicely molded. We also have some external parts, so all of this stuff is actually copied in the standard package. You don't have to buy anything. And also we have the radiator here, and if I flip over these parts, here you can check that the parts which should be detailed from both sides, they are actually detailed nicely, and that's why it's just a matter of installing them onto the bike. Maybe again, as I said before, pre-painting them, but I think Meng will have some advices on the assembly manual as well, so you will know what to do here and there. On the next plastic bag, I can see another nice surprise. And this is something what I'm usually not fully understanding in some other bike kits, because they try to assemble the fuel tank out of two halves, even though it is now possible to mold this part as a single piece part, and you can see it right now. So it's really a beautiful looking part, and it's just a matter of installing it right away, maybe removing this tab, but that's all. And of course, this gives you a bit more freedom with the painting, because you can choose the paintwork style, whatever you prefer, maybe some pinstripes here, but this will be easier to do with a one-piece part, not with a two-piece assembly. And next we have the main frame. So this one is also quite impressive, and here we get the one-piece elements, as you can notice, but that's not all, because they are attached together with the screws, as I said before. So just let me fix my lenses. I don't know why they keep scrolling down. Maybe like this. Yeah. Now you should be able to see what I'm talking about here. We have really nice surface details. I will show them in a second. First of all, let me show you what is inside, because it is also quite developed structure inside. So it's just like on the real thing. And if I zoom in, here you can take a look at what we have actually in terms of the surface details. Attachment points are also quite thin. As you can see, they are placed in smart areas, meaning that you won't be able to damage the actual frame. So you just have the attachment points on the actual attachment points on the real chassis or real frame. So this is really good, well thought through design. Next, I'm opening the sprue with the wheel rim parts, and this one is quite interesting, and I will show you in a second why. So just give me a moment. Let's move this frame aside. Okay, so first of all we have the clear parts here, and again it's pretty much the same stuff as what we saw with the orange clear parts, so nothing surprising here. But they look good, and maybe some modders will be happy that they don't have to paint themselves the clear red. Next we continue with the wheel rims, as I said before. So as you can see, these ones are molded as the two-piece assemblies, which is quite interesting design, but I hope you can guess why, because it's actually, you have to insert the spokes in between. We have also the special cutouts on the opposite side here, so you just insert them and then close two in between, so it's kind of a sandwich for each wheel. Obviously you have to repeat it twice. And as for the spokes, I will show them in a second. In my opinion, what Meng offers here for the spoke wheels, I think it looks okay for the scale, but I know some modders who actually just cut out all of the plastic and replace it with the metal wire. Obviously the metal wire looks a bit more realistic if you get the chrome wire, because you don't need to paint anything, but as you can see that will be plenty of work to do, so this is already your decision if you are up for such upgrade, and it will be a good influence on the final appearance of your bike build, but it is also a bit tedious thing to do, and you have to change them one by one in order to keep the rigidness of whole structure. So this is also quite important thing to remember, and do not forget that whole bike assembly will be actually holding on those wheels, so that's why it's a bit tricky upgrade, even though the final result might be worth it, because it will be a real chrome in comparison with the painted chrome, so that's why some modders are really insistent on such upgrade. Okay, so next we continue with another plastic bag, so let's zoom out, and that's a sprue E. So here we have the subframe for the rear section. We also get the subframe for the seat. We have some suspension parts there, some radiator guard here, and as you can see, again, everything is molded as a single piece part elements, so you don't have to do anything. And if I zoom in even closer, here you can check the surface details, which look rather impressive for this scale. So the only worry I have is that some parts will be barely visible once you assemble them, because you are basically copying everything, and just like on the real bike, some parts are getting hidden once you get whole thing assembled. So maybe it's worth thinking also how to make it quickly removable so that you can show what is inside. But that's already again a matter of personal preference, because I know some modders would rather just assemble it as it is and forget about what is hidden inside and just not spend a lot of time on the hidden things. Here we have the clear plastic sprue. So we have this windscreen, and we also have the headlamp lenses and tail light lenses. For the windscreen, I really wonder if it would be possible not to use it, because in my opinion bike looks ugly with this windscreen installed. Me personally, I am not such a huge fan of this upgrade type, so let's see in the assembly manual. But here you can see also the brake rotors, and also we have the handles, which are really big. Here you can see comparison with my fingertip, and as you can see, they are molded, the handles, for brake and clutch, they are molded together with the control units, so it might be a bit tricky to paint. We also get here some of the engine parts, and that's, for example, the rear section, and also here you can see some of the parts which will be installed here and there on the main frame. But overall, the molding quality looks perfect, just like in the previous kits. So if you are worried about any quality issues, this is not the kit where you should be, because you get everything right, and I do not see any possible issues here. Next, we continue with the sprue P. So I'm opening it right now. And this one will be for the rear swing arm. So as you can see, again, we get this one-piece design, and this is actually good because here we have really complex shaped curves, so it is important to have it molded as a one-piece part. And the same can be said about the front fork. As far as you can see, a lot of things are coming as a single-piece elements, so it will also speed up the assembly and make it easier for you, because you just get to combine all of these things together. And if I flip it over here, you can see them from the opposite side. This is, by the way, the case for the headlamp, as far as you can see, and here you can notice the large guiding elements, so this is also good. In terms of the cylinder blocks, we get them not sealed but closed with the staples, so I'm going to use a debonder in order to open it, so just give me a second because it takes a bit of time. But that's done because, well, this way, because it's actually one piece elements which are molded not on the frame, they are molded as a single piece parts. So let's check them together. Maybe I will show you only one because they are basically exactly the same, and I think these parts are the exhaust tips. So let's zoom in, and here is the exhaust tip, and if camera will focus, you will see what I'm talking about. So we get it as a single piece part without any seams and gaps if you would assemble it out of two parts, so definitely a good thing to have. And then we also get the cylinder head. Again, it's a one piece part which looks rather impressive, and I'm not sure what to upgrade here. I think the standard plastic covers pretty much all features, and you just need to properly paint and weather it, pick out all of the features, and you'll be good to go. But of course it's your decision. Maybe you would like to go with something different, then definitely try to find some decent aftermarket or maybe 3D printed aftermarket. Next, I'm opening another plastic bag, and here I have the seat parts, so just give me a moment. I will quickly open them. And this is something what I was not a huge fan of, because as you remember, there was the BMW R9 kit, and we had this seat parts as the vinyl parts, and as you can see, the same continues here. So maybe I'll open the lenses so that you can see more. We have them with the texture, so even camera tries to focus on them and fails. Maybe now. Yeah, now you should be able to see what we are talking about. We have the BMW logo. Here from the opposite side we have the guiding elements. So it's just a straight install, you don't have to do anything. I wouldn't even paint it, to be honest, because as you can see it looks more or less like a real thing. But, well, I'm not sure if it is a good solution in terms of the weathering. And the same can be said about the saddlebags. As you can see, they're included as a single piece part. You don't have a chance to open the top. They will be always closed, and they just get installed onto the side of the bike. And you also saw inside the rear seat, which is also molded as a single piece part. Now I am zooming out in order to show you the one plastic bag with various extras. So we have the metal springs here, we have the vinyl tires, of course we have the vinyl tubes, we have the screwdriver, because everything will be assembled with the screws, as I said. And what is actually quite nice here is that the vinyl tires, they have the surface details. So if camera again will focus on those parts, and it looks like it doesn't, so let's zoom in and try to focus this way. So you can notice the surface details. We have actually the tire brand and tire size. So this is also a good thing to have in this scale. So definitely a nice bonus from Meng. And next we have the assembly manual, which is packed with a lot of extra things. So just give me a second to open it. And we will talk about the things which are included there. Okay, so I can see that we actually get some PE parts as well, which is rather surprising, to be honest, to get it out of the box. But these are the parts for the brake rotors. So as you can see, they're molded or casted actually like this. And why I'm saying casted, because it's quite a thick part. It's actually, you can hear that it's very thick piece of metal. So definitely something sturdy. Then if you were wondering where the screws here, they are very tiny ones, so try not to lose them, because I think there are no spare elements and you'll have to do it, well, to install everything by your own. And then I can see the pinstripe decals and also some metal stickers, which are sealed in a plastic bag. But I think it's worth opening them and checking how they look out of the bag. For this, we also need to zoom in as close as this possible now, because here we get these special plaques which are placed on the engine. They are showing the engine capacity, obviously, because it's 1.8 liters, which is rather impressive. Then we have the metal stickers with the brand logo. We have also the chrome stickers for the headlamps. And then we have also the decals for the pinstripes and also for the dial, and of course for the license plate. It's not written where the decals are coming from, but the printing quality looks quite decent, so I don't think it will be looking ugly on your model. And it's really nice to have these metal stickers for the engine, because this is something what is noticeable on the real bike as well, so it will be noticeable on the finished model too. Next we continue here with assembly manual, so I'm zooming out as much as I can, because it's a large color printed brochure. Maybe let's close the lenses a bit. So you can see we have again the same image as on the box art. Here we have some safety advices. Then we continue with assembly tips, and maybe I should close lenses even more so that you won't be blinded. So assembly process starts with the engine. So you assemble the main block, then you assemble the main, well, it's the rear frame assembly first, and then you assemble the right frame assembly, and then I guess you join them together with the engine in between, just like on the real bike. And as you can see, it might be a good idea to pre-paint the engine block, because later it will be really tricky to get to it. Next we continue with the wheels assembly, and here you're already using the metal parts. You install the rear wheel in place, and then we continue with more parts. Well, it's ABS block. Here we have the engine cylinder assembly for each of the sides, and also here you can see the attaching the left engine cylinder in place. It's again several parts being involved. And next here we have the frame parts assembly, again the front wheel assembly, which is pretty much the same as the rear, but here you have to work with the shocks. As you remember, they are movable because we have the metal shocks in place. Then we have here the front brake lines assembly, And as you can see, these are the real lengths of the vinyl piping which you should use. Then we have also the rear mudguard. We have the fuel tank here, which is installed on this special point, and also exhaust pipe, which is being assembled on the next steps. As you can see, it is installed here. And that's what I was talking about. It might be a good idea to replace it with a straight pipe. It would be a better looking result. Next, we continue here with the left body cover panel, and then the right one goes in place. Here you can see the windscreen assembly, and well, manufacturer suggests to install it, but as I said, I would rather omit it because I like how this bike looks without this element. We continue with the seat, then we have the saddlebags in place, and then we have the parts map. Here we have the first marking option. I'm not sure, yes, it is in color because it's a black bike. I thought it's a black and white, and here we have some other marking options. But as you can see, we do not get alternative marking options for the option 719. So again, that's the question whether we would get them as the aftermarket. But I think this bike might be a good opportunity to play a bit with the customizing, because there are a lot of custom builds for this bike. And of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion, so do not forget to write it in the comment section. If you have something to say, write it here. And I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.